optibotimus coming with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class World War II Bumblebee, as he appeared in a flashback scene in the Transformers Last Night film. For the package, much like all the Studio Series figures, you have the nice Transformers text along the side here with the Generation logo. You do have the Last Night logo right down here, as well as an image of Bumblebee holding his kind of hammer thing. Of course, you got an open window that fully showcases the figure. You got the up-close image of Bumblebee's head. Studio Series 26. Opposite side here has a more pulled-back image of Bumblebee. Got that little Autobot logo, which is a part of the backdrop. And then you come around to the back of the package. Then you got images of the other figures that are currently in this wave, as well as images of his robot and vehicle mode. You have a picture of the backdrop, which is a World War II flashback scene. And it says, Bumblebee infiltrates an enemy stronghold, unleashing the war machine within. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright, so here we have the World War II version of Bumblebee open up out of its packaging, and obviously in his very green army vehicle mode. And actually, I really like the way that this guy looks. The biggest problem that I think that it has is there's not much shading or anything really to help make it look less like a toy, I suppose. The green looks good. You do have some extra painted detail, like some numbers and a little silver paint here for the headlights. Another little number there. But really, that's about it. It's broken up by black tires and I don't want to say gunmetal gray, but very darkly colored weapons. I mean, it's cool. But like I said, I just wish there was more kind of thrown in there. Maybe a little bit of silver wash or something. I don't know. As it is, it does have a very plain and, like I said, a very toy sort of look. One thing that I'll also say is that the plastic on it, especially like in these parts right here, which become like the back of his legs, feel fairly thin. More of the detail on here, though, is really terrific. You got a nice grill section right there. You see a lot of different vents, rivets. You got a door molded in there. I mean, in general, like I said, the sculpting is good. It just, I feel like it could be just a tad better in terms of the overall presentation of it. You do have these weapons that sit up on here. This whole assembly right here rotates. It seems kind of pointless because it's on a round peg. So as you rotate it, that rotates. Then you gotta hold that down. So I mean, it's weird that they decided to make this whole section rotate around. I think it's kind of dumb, to be honest. But you can plug that, I'm detaching things, that weapon right up in there. And then you also do have his giant gun that comes through the front section here. It lifts up part of the transformation. I can't seem to get it kind of lined up in a way where it can sit all the way down. I mean, it doesn't bother me that there's a little bit of a gap right there, but I mean, a lot of this stuff kind of just pops apart. But you can see that you got some gap work right there. For a size comparison, it's not in his vehicle mode, but there's Bumblebee. You get an idea. He's a deluxe size figure. Transformation is really very simple on it. There's I don't want to say some neat stuff happening, but there's some different stuff that we haven't really seen in a while. First, what you want to do is lift this up. You can rotate that around and put that back down if you really want. Here's the other weapon. It stores right underneath there. It opens up to become a Hammer of Doom. Set that off to the side. Come around here. You just kind of then move this piece down, detach this a little bit, and then this whole back section here will fold back just like so. Then take these bits, and it doesn't really matter which way you do it. Just fold it in on each other. Come down to this section here where his arms are. Now it pegs in, but one thing that's interesting is it doesn't just peg down. It's on like a little rail thing, so you have to pull them out to the side and then rotate these around. You can see you got that little post right here, and it's sliding in this section. So you do have to, like I said, slide it out. Then you can spin that around just like that. Come down here to these tires. You want to just kind of extend these out. You're kind of creating clearance for things to rotate around here in a minute. Go ahead and take this back section, fold this, backing up, and then you can rotate this around. Make sure you rotate the entire assembly. It is a little bit tricky to do because there's a lot of junk right here and there's not a lot of clearance. So just kind of wedge it a little bit, but you do want to make sure that you're rotating both of these at the same time. And did I go the wrong way? I might have. I mean, this whole rotation section here is a bit of a pain, honestly, just because of the junk. There you go. Rotate that all the way around. And then, again, you got to try and, well, leave it on an angle, and then you can fold these in like so. They are on double hinges, and they will kind of tab in on themselves, and then just push that up along his back area. But again, a lot of crap right here that just seems to get in the way. There you go. And then fold that down just like so. You can rotate these arms around like that. Take this entire assembly, lift this up. Did that? No, well, before you bring all that in, that's, like I said, it's a pain. Slide this up. The shit. What's happening here? Why are you not sliding up? It's not. It's all getting hung up on shit back there. There we go. So maybe it's a little bit of a problem there. I don't really care that much. It's annoying. Fold that around. Like I said, it's just too much shit right here. It's frustrating. All right. It's simple, but I'm frustrated by it. I don't know why. Bring that down. Bring that down. You can see what's happening. You got his legs. Go ahead, split those. And then this section right here, you just pull away. Take this, fold this down. And then this is going to slide in between the tire. I'll bring down the foot. And then slide that in there and then kind of push that all the way up. I kind of like how that actually looks. So again, pull that away. Fold down the foot. Take this, tuck this down and in. And then this slides all the way down. And there you have Bumblebee in his robot mode. It's a little bit fiddly. And like I said, I feel like there's just way too much backpack and junk stuff going on there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going back here. I mean, he's very shell-formery. But when you're done, there you have the World War II version of Bumblebee in his robot mode. And honestly, he's not a bad figure. He's a bit cramped in some areas, but he's pretty decent overall. I don't know ultimately if he's going to find his way in my collection, but he's still an interesting kind of figure. Now, as you can see, you can get him holding his hammer. If you don't want to have him hold that, you can come around here to the back, and you got that little peg that you can also take this and put that in. You can also have him hold his handgun. It just pegs in there just like so, and you can have him blasting guys if you really wanted to. In personal preference, but the way that he looks is pretty decent. Now, when you do get him in this mode, you do get a lot more color, which, like, you can see some, like, dark paint added on there. You got some up here on his chest. You got some molded black pieces, or like this color molded on his thighs and his abdomen area. I wish there was more of that coloring put on the vehicle mode. Face sculpt is also really very nice. Coming in to take a close look at that, he's got really very striking blue eyes. Probably some of the bluest eyes that we've ever seen, and some of the biggest too. I mean, those are really big eyes. That head sculpt though looks fantastic. It is very similar and recognizable as Bumblebee. Now looking at the rest of the detail, again, like you could see, you got some nice color added in there, in addition to some molded dark plastic. But a lot of great sculpted detail with rivets and gears all throughout the entire figure. You can see he's got black hands, looking at his legs and thighs and everything. Again, real great amount of detail. I really do like how they engineered the transformation to have these wheels kind of go in there and make it look like there's like the brake section right there. I think that's really cool how they did that. The backpack is really ugly on them, though. Bumblebee figures in general always have a lot of backpacks, but I feel like this one just kind of gets lazy with it and just kind of is there. I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, I feel like they could have done a little bit better of a job, especially since this is a Studio Series figure. But it does, you can see, make him very wobbly. He's wobbly. You do have to make sure you angle his legs and kind of lean him a little bit forward to get him to balance. And even there, you can see that he wants to topple back. Just the feet aren't very good. You got, like I said, a lot of weight here, especially when these are hanging out. And then the center point here is kind of where everything is. But if you get it all positioned just about perfectly, you can get him to stand. I mean, he's standing. You just, unfortunately, because of the way that the design is, he is going to be a little bit wobbly at some points. Now, for that size comparison, let's bring in the Studio Series Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie. You can see he's a little bit smaller. That's not bad. The different vehicles have had him get a little bit bigger or smaller depending on the movie itself. Obviously, we know that these new Studio Series figures are a little bit smaller just in general, but I think that the scale is decent. A VW Bug is going to be a little bit smaller than some weird Army vehicle. First articulation, the head is on a ball joint. You can also get a little bit of, oh no, that's just all part of the ball joint, I think. You just got a really big ball joint. The shoulders here are on ball joints as well. The section here doesn't really tab in. It's supposed to. There's like little tabs up in here, but it just kind of just rests. So when you move things around, it's definitely going to come out. It's not bad, and it doesn't really break up too much, but I wish that would tab in a little bit better. But you do have a full range there. It does have a swivel here at the elbow section. You also do have a very soft ratchet joint here moving forward and back at the elbow. Wrist, as part of the transformation, goes in and out. Come down here to the waist. He actually does have a waist rotation, which is nice. You got ball joints here for the hips, in, out, forward, and back. He rotates at the upper part of the thigh, bends here at the knee. I guess you could kind of say that the ankles move a little bit forward, but they're not really supposed to. I want to make sure I have that all the way up there. So it's not really an articulation point per se, but he's cool. It does make me wonder if with getting a army getting an army version of Bumblebee, if we'll get a army version of Hot Rod. We did get a Hot Rod figure with the Last Night. It was not that great of a figure. I mean, it's all right. I mean, it's in my collection. But I do hope that we get a better one. I think that there's rumors that we may, like a listing has shown up on a website or something like that. So hopefully we do. Time will tell. Now to transform him back, we're going to take the hands, tuck those up, and we're going to rotate him here at the elbow, putting the hands facing forward. So do that on both sides, just like that. Come down here to the feet. You can take the foot, fold that forward a little bit, bring this section back, fold the tire out, and then make sure you collapse that all the way down, and then you bring this down and cover the back just like so. Do that on this side as well. So bring the foot a little bit forward, then get that a little bit forward, bring this out, rotate the wheel out, fold that all the way up, and then bring this down. And then you can bring these two leg sections together, give that a push there, locking that into place, and then also locks down here on the foot as well. So make sure that you lock both of those little points. This little back thing, again, this gets a little bit tricky, but fold out these all the way to the outside, just like so. That way it can rotate and kind of clear this junk. It's not going to do it very well, but there we go. Get that down and around. Then you can come around here to this, keep that out, and you can collapse that all the way down, just like that. There you go. Bring these arms in. Then again, you need to rotate this around at the ball joint, So rotate that around so that it's facing the bottom, and then you can take that little sliding section like I showed you and hook it in there. So you just come in from the side, slide that in, that locks that into place very nicely. So again, do that on this side as well. Fold this around, rotate there, and then bring this whole thing in. Oh, there's a little slider. Keep that there, and then slide that in. It is tricky because you can't really see it very well. So there we go. There we are. Slide that in. Make sure you collapse this down as much as you possibly can for the space of the gun area. Open up these little panels just like that, and then fold this section down. Now before you kind of line everything up, kind of just hook it underneath there. Come on here to the back section, take this, fold this out, fold that down, and then you got little tabs on the side here that are going to lock on the inside of the wheel, but you really have to push hard to friction those in. So make sure you give those a nice solid push on both sides to lock those into place. Then you can kind of go around to the side bits here, squeeze those in. Those are also going to friction along the side, and then take this section, lift this. Oh, actually you have to take this whole thing off. Put this there. There you go. I guess you didn't have to take it off, but I did. So there's that. Lift this. This will rotate around and collapse down. And again, like I said, it doesn't go all the way because there's like, I don't know if I have these arms positioned right, but there's the arms are underneath there, so it doesn't go down all the way, but it doesn't bother me really all that much. I mean, that's pretty good. I think I'm content with it. And then you just take this gun, put that there, and there you have the World War II version of Bumblebee back in his thing mode. But here we come to the end of the review, and the decision has to be made: should this figure be detolfed? Honestly, it's not going to be for me. While the figure isn't terrible, it just really isn't all that memorable. I mean, after all, it's based on a scene that was like 30 seconds long, depicting a completely different look for Bumblebee, and while that's cool, this isn't what I think of when I think of Bumblebee. That's not to say that the figure's not pretty good. It's decent. Vehicle mode wise, does look really good. There's a lot of real nice molded detail. But as I talked about, I wish a lot of those colors that we got to see in robot mode were more on display here in vehicle mode. Transformation is pretty simple. He's essentially a shell former, and because of the size of him, a lot of stuff does kind of bump into each other, and it does get a little bit annoying. You know where things are supposed to go, but there's other things that are kind of in the way, so you're just kind of like forcing it around and over areas. Robot mode is the best looking, I think. When you look at that head, you definitely can see the resemblance to Bumblebee. The colors do look a little bit better in that robot mode, but there are some inherent problems in having a shell former. That shell basically goes on his back, and it does create some wobbling issues, which, despite the fact that he's got a pretty decent level of articulation, because of that stability, you're not going to really get him in a lot of really good poses. All in all, he's a decent figure, just not one that I feel really needs to be in a movie collection. And in a world where we have a bajillion Bumblebee figures, there are much better ones that are out there. But all that being said, if the World War II version of Bumblebee is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he is hitting various retailers right now. So if you're looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, there's places such as Big Bad Toy Store. For that, I'll put a link down in the video description where you'll go to BBTS and you can check out availability on this guy as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate your support, guys, simply by hitting that thumbs up button. That one small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. And a huge thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this review. Another way that you can really help support my channel is making sure that you watch a video all the way through. And if you did that, thank you. Also, a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who through their continued support, now more than ever, help to make reviews like this possible. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.